Hello and welcome back to the channel. My name is Alex and today we'll talk about, is the Philippines safe for foreigners? Don't just listen to me, we'll take a look at some other people's advice and watch till the end. I'll tell you my personal experience for the past 5 years living in and out of the Philippines. Today's question is, I am very impressed with how adventurous and resourceful many members of this group are. I wonder how everybody manages some of the risks of living in the area, especially with typhoons, hurricanes, earthquakes, and mosquito diseases. I think a lot of people seem to have mistaken my intentions. I do not intend to imply that you guys have picked the wrong place to live. I have personally lived through hurricanes, earthquakes, the Zika, dengue fever, etc. in Puerto Rico in the last 10 years. I just think that it's smart to know your risk and be prepared. And it is a bit more challenging to be prepared in a foreign country that I don't know well. So I would like to see if you guys have some tips, like maybe there's a nice app somewhere who would warn you about incoming typhoons. Okay, before we even look into the answers, tips, this is a little strange for me because if this person lived through all the stuff that he said, like typhoons, Zika, and all that, why is he worried about the Philippines? Yeah, okay, the Philippines is an archipelago that experiences a lot of these things, but so does pretty much anywhere in the world, at least in Southeast Asia, and even in the US, you got all these other safety concerns to even worry about, right? So let's take a look at some of the answers first. I'll tell you guys my personal thoughts after. Top answer is sure, because there are no hurricanes, no tornadoes, no earthquakes, no mosquitoes in your birth country. Nonetheless, the carjacking, the shootouts, the drug addicts, and so on and so on. I left Europe 30 years ago and did set here 12 years ago. Best decision in my whole life. Despite the sarcasm, there were some excellent points made there. It doesn't matter where you're coming from. Usually your country is not 100% safe. I mean, I can go ahead and say always, no country is perfect, no country is safe, and the same thing can be applied for the Philippines. Now, personally, I actually feel the safest in the Philippines over any other country, and that's because maybe I don't drink or party or get involved in drugs or all these illicit activities, right? So it really comes down to yourself. A lot of the stuff, you can mitigate that danger, that fear, that risk factor by not associating with stuff that you really shouldn't, usually illegal stuff. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you how to live your life, but it does come down to you to some degree. Now, of course, it could be bad apples in any situation, in any country, people that go ahead and do stupid stuff. And if you're in the wrong place at the wrong time, bad things can happen to you. But for me, during the past 5 years, I've been to really underdeveloped areas. I've been to some really overly developed areas, if that's a thing, like really high-end places. I've been to islands. I've been to all over the Philippines, a lot of places, not everywhere. But I never once felt unsafe. Most people, even if you're walking, because I obviously make videos, and if I make travel content, and if I'm walking through some very bad neighborhoods, I don't purposely point the camera that way because I don't want to sensationalize people's poverty or whatever, but I never felt unsafe. People usually saying hello, waving, they're smiling. A lot of people want to know what you're doing. They're asking you for a vlogger. People invite me for beers or offer me fruit. Things like that happen to me all the time. I can't say the same thing in every country. So yeah, no country's perfect. Let's go on to the next answer. Someone says, in the States, I live in tornado-prone Texas. In the Philippines, I stay in typhoon-prone Bicol. Having lived through and seen both, I'd rather take the chances with a typhoon. Whoa. Got insects-borne diseases in both countries. In the Philippines, it's mosquitoes-borne. In the States, it's tick-borne. So it doesn't matter which country I'm in. I don't worry about such things. If they happen, they happen. Excellent point. Natural disasters, you really don't have control over. But for me, I stay in Cebu City mainly. It's a little bit away from the ocean. And I guess the more central you go, the less chances you have of getting hit. I mean, it doesn't guarantee you anything. But like I said, you kind of have a little bit of control, but you don't have full control of any risk situation. If you want to live your life that way, you really can't basically get out your house because you can have a weird driver. You can have some freak incident happen to you. Having this fear in your mind, it's going to hinder you to actually experience and live and see the Philippines or any other country. Someone says, easy, do not live in fear and enjoy the moments. If a typhoon comes and takes you out, so be it. At least you went out with a blast. I like the way this person's taking a positive spin on it. Yeah, honestly, you can't really worry about stuff like that. I want to say go ahead and live right on the water if you have a fear like that. But if you just live your life in the Philippines and let things be, because things do happen and you don't want to live in a state of constant fear. Someone says, I'm from Australia. Living here is safer. I went for a swim in Australia and the sign said, beware of crocodiles, sharks, snakes, box jellyfish. That was all just before a typhoon was due to hit. Yeah, you'll be all right. Get some insurance and income, a little bit of savings, and just do it. Yes, a lot of encouragement. I like how a lot of people are pushing this guy, supporting him, letting him know things are going to be okay. You know, there's going to be safety concerns in every country you go, but just be well prepared. Do a little bit of research. Make sure you have all your shots that you require for the Philippines. Speak with a doctor. Get travel insurance. Get medical insurance. Do what you can do to control your risk factor. Lastly, someone says, you trade one thing for another. Maybe you should Google Tornado Alley here in Indiana. Coupled with lake effect snow caused by Lake Michigan, where it can be crystal blue skies and 20 minutes later be a total whiteout with horizontal snow. There are mosquitoes here and also Lyme disease caused by ticks. We have major power outages also, so whatever. It's always important to be reminded because you're in your little circle, sometimes you forget things that are nearby, even in your home country. I know in Canada we got snow blizzards and all kinds of we deal with the weather in a different way, the opposite, right? The coldness, the stuff that comes from just like accidents on the road, slip and falls, and just freezing to death if you're homeless. Unfortunately, it does happen in some places. Yeah, so no place is perfect, and not just with hurricanes and natural disasters. My experiences in the Philippines, when it comes to even violence or a petty theft and all these things, yeah, it can happen, but so can they in every other country. The Philippines is no different. It's all the same. Really, it comes down to yourself and what you put out there. If you're kind, if you're nice, if you're respectful, if you don't do drugs and alcohol, you kind of limit those factors. Nowhere's perfect, and some things do happen in the Philippines, but so do they in Canada, in the US, and Australia, and everywhere, right? So I think to live your life, you can't always think too cautiously. That's just me though. You might be different, right? You might really need that security, that safety. Somebody just said that relationships are the most dangerous thing here. So yeah, you might have other factors that you don't even know about yet until you come to the Philippines. I would say don't let it stop you from coming to the Philippines. Of course, beware, be prepared, do your research. Check out all the news channels. Watch out for the weather. Look outside the window. If it looks bad, maybe don't go out there, right? And if you're living near the ocean, make sure like the foundation's correct. I don't know. Do what you gotta do. I'm not one of those people. Like whenever I do travel, I honestly at this point I'm just looking at the map and seeing which is the closest country. I barely do any research because for me, I like that adventure. I like not knowing anything. Unless I'm going into like a war zone like Afghanistan, or I don't even know if Myanmar is bad right now, but I don't want to get into all that. But just know the basic stuff. Understand that it isn't like a serious thing happening with the country, politically, militarily, all that stuff. Is that a word, militarily? Regardless, the Philippines should not be a concern for you. They have the same kind of diseases you probably have in your home country, maybe a different variation or the opposite of the spectrum. And that's it. Leave your comments down below. Let me know what you think of this question particularly. Let me know your experience in the Philippines. Have you been there? Have you lived there? If you've never been there, what's your biggest concern? Because maybe I have some experience and I can share my thoughts on the matter. And if you enjoyed this video, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.